Hello, I'm Darryl Howerton, and welcome to Women's Sports Cards, episode number 38. This one is titled, My Fave 5 Cards in My Collection. Today we're not talking about investments or sales or any type of thing like that. I'm just talking about the pure enjoyment of collecting women's sports cards, why I got into this in the first place in July 2020. As it so turns during the pandemic, I looked to eBay to buy perhaps some of. Actually, I went there first to see if my favorite athlete, Ruth Larson, who I went to high school with at Clovis West, went to college with at Fresno State. I just randomly, when I was looking up NBA cards and NFL cards, looked up to see if she had a card, and sure enough, she did. Back in 1989, Sports Illustrated made a bunch of cards, and she was part of that collection, SI for Kids, and they were for sale for like somewhere between $5 to $10. So I bought about 4 or 5 of them just to have them in my collection. So once I did that, I realized how inexpensive I was able to get rookie cards like Ruth Larson. You know, she's a great volleyball player, played on the Olympic team, an MVP of the Major League Volleyball at the time, back in the late 80s and early 90s, played on the Olympics. And I looked at Steffi Graf, Monica Seles, all these others. I was able to buy all of their rookie cards for less than $10. Next thing you knew, I had 18 of my 20 all-time favorite athletes, and I was missing 2. Mia Hamm cost $30. Serena Williams, the cheapest I could find was $100. So I figured, well, let me just complete the collection, have my 20 favorites, and who knows, maybe one day in the future, the Serena cards and the other cards will go up. I mean, if Tom Brady and Stephen Curry and LeBron James and Michael Jordan can go for $1 million, who's to say that Serena won't go for $100,000 one day? It's possible, even though these cards weren't really valued last summer. Well, little did I know that these cards would explode at the end of the year and at the turn of 2021, and now a lot of these cards have gone up 1,000% ROI. The Ruth Larson card I got here is the one that got me started off on this whole thing, so that's why I cherish this card, not because of just Ruth alone, but also, she's just incredible athlete, incredible person. A regal. He always carries himself in a royal way, and changed the Fresno State volleyball program, took it to the Elite Eight. Like I said, she was the MVP of Major League Volleyball. She won a bronze medal with the 1992 Olympic volleyball team. Just a great athlete, and it was a nice first card to get me started on this women's sports card collection. Again, I talked about the Serena Williams card that I bought for $100. This is the card right here. I actually bought it from the magazine, got it graded. Actually, let me tell the story first. I tore it from the magazine from the uncut sheets, and that's how I bought it for $100, paid $8 for tax. And then when I saw the cards exploding everywhere, decided to get it graded by SGC here. And so it cost another $15. That's all it cost at the time. So basically, after a $125 investment, had this card that now probably sells for anywhere from $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Who knows? The 10 of this version is valued anywhere between $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and some people think it's the most valuable card in women's sports cards. We'll see if it tops the $35,000, $36,000 that her Net Pro Glossy 2003 sold for, or the Mia Hamm 34,440 1992 SI for Kids card. If it tops those cards, it will be the so-called holy grail of women's sports cards. There hasn't been a PSA 10 version of this card that sold since January 2021. I think there's only 9 or 10 in existence. So the next one that does sell, we'll have a good idea then if it's the queen of sports cards in general. I mean, I was going to say modern sports cards, but if it sells for 40, 50,000, then it's the queen, period. So just like Ruth has a regal presence, so too does Serena Williams, who many people call the GOAT, greatest of all time. So I shouldn't say many people. I think it's pretty unanimous when it comes to tennis or women's sports in general. The 20th century GOAT candidate, Wilma Rudolph, is another one of my all-time favorites. She was probably my favorite 20th century athlete. So when I was able to go back in time and buy 4 of her cards for less than $100, actually I think most of them were less than $50, I was just stunned. I mean, here is someone who has cards, her rookie cards from 1960. It's one thing when the Serena Williams rookie cards, 1999 Sports Illustrated Kids, or the Ruth Larson is 1989 Sports Illustrated Kids. You know, the only company really putting out women's sports cards on a consistent basis. But this came from a Swedish company called Extra Bladet, taken from magazines at times, taken from various places. And these, you know, when I saw them selling on eBay at reasonable prices, I just had to get one. And this is my favorite one of the collection. She looks, you know, beautiful here, holding up her gold medals, wearing the dress. The card got a 5. It's the best Wilma Rudolph grade I've gotten from SGC, you know, because it's hard to keep these vintage cards in good shape. But I really, you know, am fond of this card, just as I am of the Serena card, just as I am of the Ruth card. Another one, this one is a favorite card of mine, Alana Smith, Phoenix Mercury, power forward center. To me, it's just the most beautiful card out there. Not only is she a supermodel, 6'4" and everything, but this came at the WNBA draft where she chose to wear this Beckenbridge green dress from Australia. And she's Australian, of course, holding a Phoenix Mercury jersey. And I just think it's the best looking card I've ever seen. And then when you put it in a gold version, there's only 10 of these in existence. I just love this card. It's one of my favorites, and that's why it's part of this Fave 5 collection right here. The only thing that would top it is if I can get another gold or get the black card and have it come back a 10 from HGA. And that's another reason I love this card. HGA is my favorite grading company. Sports Illustrated SGC, the company that graded these three right here, they do a wonderful job too. They're my second favorite. They're my favorite for vintage. But HGA is the one I want to use for modern cards. And they're a new company, so I'm rooting for them to come out and do well. But I love the subgrades they have, grading the corners, surface, edges, and centering. I think their grading is the most fair, the most accurate, and it's pretty tough. It's very difficult to pull a 10. So they're not easy by any means, but I think they're the most honest. I think they're the best. And that's no knock on SGC. I think they're a close second. But I think both of these companies are, you know, far and away outranking PSA nowadays, BGS nowadays, and even CSG, the new company. To me, I'm new in the hobby, so I'm not familiar with what great stuff PSA and Beckett did in the past. I just know what's going on in the present. And to me, the customer service you get with HGA and SGC is unparalleled. So that's another reason I love this card. And last but not least is another HGA special from Chechen from China. My favorite beach volleyball player ever. This one's an autograph card, a 2017 Upper Deck Goodwin Champions autograph. This one came back a pristine 10. And to me, it's my first 10 I've gotten from HGA. I just think it's a beautiful card. It's one of my all-time favorites, and you know, that's another reason why it's in that collection. I just love the way that HGA matches the card to the slab, to the label, and you know, the green here that really shines through in the same way that this Panini Prism card, this Panini Donruss card, this Donruss Press Proof Gold Laser from 2019, the way it's complemented by the way HGA grades it. I mean, that's the reason these cards are so valuable. I mean, not valuable, but beautiful, and favorites of my collection. So anyway, try to design these like a doll collection. Not that I ever collected dolls, but there you go. Thanks again for watching, everybody. These are my Fave 5 out of the collection. Not necessarily the most valuable, but definitely my favorite. Thanks for watching. God bless.